Hey there survivors, how's it going? I'm your host Douglas here at Drownway Productions, bringing you another Screaming Ghostface Collector's video. All of these are pieces I recently picked up from Spirit Halloween, however, I have not done an in-depth look at really any of this yet. So today we're going to go ahead and take a deep dive into a few awesome offerings from Spirit Halloween. And I guess we'll start today's video off with this cup, because it is definitely the odd piece out. So this is a new offering that you can get from Spirit, or potentially Spencer's as well, but I found this one in Spirit, and these run only $3. So if you're a Screaming Ghostface fan and collector, I strongly recommend it for that price. I mean, that's really not bad at all. Many of you have heard me complain over the years about the same Scream 4 artwork being reused for over a decade now on many different pieces of merchandise, and I do enjoy that artwork, but you know, I do enjoy some new stuff too. And it seems like this year Fun World is finally working with some really awesome artists to license their work as official. This particular piece was done by Stephen Luros Holiday, who has done some really incredible Ghostface artwork that has been ripped off by many different people. He does sell original prints, but typically most of the time that you see it, it's by someone who has ripped off his artwork. I actually did see his most bootlegged piece on an official Ghostface blanket. I think that was actually released at Spencer's. I didn't see it at Spirit, but that was the initial time seeing it. I messaged him about it and he said it was officially licensed, which is so awesome to hear. And since then, we've seen other really cool Ghostface artwork made official, so I'm looking forward to Fun World working with artists like this in the future. I think it's really awesome, it's refreshing, and I mean, look at how awesome, look at how detailed this cup is. And I don't know how well it's going to come across on camera, but this entire top rim here is almost like a foil kind of holographic chrome look, and it just looks really incredible, especially for $3. Next up, we're going to talk about the real reason why many of you are here. The Scream 6 masks. So as far as the tag is concerned, this is the Spirit Halloween version. It's pretty similar to the other version, and of course they're not as cool as old school Fun World tags. Maybe one day they'll bring back images of the mask on the tag. I wish they would, because that looks so freaking cool. But overall, it's not a bad tag design. You have the Ghostface Lives tagline there, Spirit Halloween logo, and as seen in the motion picture, Scream 6. Oh yeah, for those of you wondering how much these cost in stores at Spirit, these are $17 at Spirit. However, I believe many other retailers are selling them for like the $20, $25 range, and they're going to be a bit different tag-wise, and overall, it's pretty much the same exact mask otherwise. As far as the shroud on these, you do have these standard EU black polyester shrouds. I really hope that maybe at some point they do offer a 25th anniversary shroud with this mask. I know that they have done the 25th anniversary robe and mask together as a costume package, so maybe they'll do that, but at this point in time, I have not seen that announced. I am really happy that they did offer it with the standard black polyester shroud though. That's going to be preferred for most people style-wise, price-wise, and of course if you're a cosplayer, this is going to be much closer to one of the screen-used masks anyway. And speaking of being close to the screen-used masks, let's talk about accuracy, at least as far as the sculpture. Now, the sculpt on this thing is not bad by any means. This was done by an in-house sculptor at Fun World named Frank, who has done a lot of work for a lot of really cool Ghostface and Fun World projects. And this is yet another project that he was tasked with. This is an Easter Unlimited stamped mask. However, these are not cast in transparent vinyl or anything like that. These are actually cast in black vinyl. And all the paint job that you see on the face is kind of like a sponged on, painted up version where they're trying to miss a majority of the cracks and small details to give it a bit more texture and life. As far as the texture on the sculpt on the mask itself, it is pretty heavily textured. I do believe a bit more than the screen-used masks are. However, they kind of have to do that for mass production. Otherwise, whenever the factory workers are painting these, the paint job just would do nothing for the texture. It wouldn't really show up, and it would all kind of become muddied. So they had to make it a bit punchier, but it seems like some of the masks that were on set actually did have some pretty heavy texture on them, so it's not completely inaccurate that way. As far as all the fine details on the mask, the major cracks and stuff like that, they don't seem to be 100% accurate, but it's not bad by any means. Really, it's the paint job that does this sculpture a disservice. Like, there is a crack that runs here, all the way in between the eyes, and there are like small cracks here in between the eyes that are for the most part lost on many copies. I do have multiple examples here to kind of give you guys a good look at how varying they can be. And to be honest, I have really tried to pick out the best copies that I've come across. So these are some of the best, in my opinion, that I have come across getting to thumb through the ones on the shelf. And of course, with any kind of mask like this, just like with the aged masks that Trick or Treat Studios puts out and stuff like that, many times you're going to find extremely well done, great examples of these masks, and then you'll also find some very awful ones. That's just an issue that you're going to run into when you're mass producing masks, but to be honest, overall, the stock paint job on these doesn't look too bad. And I have seen many people already repainting these or rehauling them, and those do look quite nice as well. So if you want to take the time to try and repaint yours, I'm sure you could make it look even closer to the movie. As far as it being screen accurate though, it's not 100% accurate from what I can tell to any of the copies in particular that were used on film. And if you want to learn more about all the different copies that were seen on film, you can go check out my Scream 6 movie mask guide. I kind of go a little bit more in depth about all the different versions of the aged masks. But Funworld did initially plan to use a screen-used mask to create the mold for these to mass produce for us, and I believe due to time they were not able to make that happen, and that is really unfortunate. I hope that maybe at some point in the future they will go ahead and do that, because I believe they do actually have a screen-used mask that is in-house at Funworld that does belong to Funworld. But for what we got, to be honest, I really love these guys. These are one of my favorite mask variants. I am pretty happy that they put out the Billy version because it is kind of the main Scream 6 mask, but I really wish they would have done at least the Stu, so you could have Billy and Stu together, if not the Miss Loomis mask as well. Because just imagine being able to pick up, I mean, realistically all the different versions, but past Miss Loomis for the most part, they're just kind of slightly aged EUs. Imagine how cool that would look in Frank style, produced by Funworld. You'd be able to have both sets together, original official masks. It would just be so freaking awesome. But yeah, I really don't have any complaints about these except for one very major question. Why is there no mouth hole? Why is there no vent hole? For some reason, they decided to do this run of masks with no vent hole. And I thought maybe on my first copy it was just a factory error. But no, all of these copies that I have, this one's a bit painted, but there's no vent hole. So there's no ventilation when you put this mask on. This seems like a bit of a hazard, and I'm not saying this to complain at all. I'm saying this because I think this may have actually been a factory error, and maybe Funworld hasn't noticed this yet. So if that's the case, maybe go ahead and try picking up one of these first ahead of time, because these first runs not having that vent hole has to be wrong. That can't be how they're meant to be produced. I'm pretty sure that this was not their design choice. All right, next up we have one of the craziest Ghostface variants that I think has ever been released. Personally, I never thought I would be standing here holding something like this, showing it to you all, but here we have the Bling Ghostface mask. And there actually are several different versions of the Bling Ghostface mask, but this is the main one that has been sent to retailers. Is made off of the $3 like dollar store vacuum Ghostface mask, except for these are actually vacuum formed in a very thick, sturdy plastic, so it's kind of a hard plastic mask as well. But yeah, it's just bedazzled with some black gems, some regular shiny gems, and it has a sparkle shroud, but it's not the same style sparkle as what's on the 25th anniversary hoods. And it's more like a classic EU hood. Very interesting design choice on this. I personally wouldn't mind seeing this kind of fabric maybe put on regular EU masks as like another sparkle hood variant. But it's not a terrible mask, it's just not really my style. But yet here they are, and as a completionist I had to pick one up. And these are actually pretty pricey. I think out of all of the different mask styles that were put out this year, they are the priciest, clocking in at $25, at least at Spirit Halloween, maybe even more at other places. So yeah, for what it is, it's pretty well made. Personally, not really my style, but they do have a version that has glow-in-the-dark gems, and I would probably like that one a lot more. Alright, and now we are down to the last mask for today's video, and this is one I've kind of shown in some previous videos, but I don't feel like I've given it the proper review, so I want to go ahead and do that now. Here we have the new glow-in-the-dark ultra white mold Ghostface masks. And I want to go ahead and start by saying, these are fantastic. These were available last year, but The ones from this year are slightly different. I'm gonna see if I can show you guys a bit of a side-by-side. You're probably not gonna notice too much, but overall, for this run, I noticed some kind of messy glue on the eyes, kind of messy face paint, and overall, these look a lot better. These are some of the best looking ultra white mold masks that I've seen, period. And one of the reasons for that, not the only reason, but one of the reasons, is because they have this plastic insert inside of the mask. This is what it looks like. It's just part of an ultra white that's been molded in plastic, and like I said, they are inserts for these. And I want to say that those are fantastic. Whether you want them for the actual mask they come with, or maybe you want to remove it and put it inside of one of your favorite vintage masks, whatever the situation may be. If you're the type of person that really prefers a perfect shaped Ghostface mask, these are great for displaying your masks on. So yeah, I really hope that Fun World decides to put those in more masks in the future. I think those are fantastic. I would love to see them in the 25th anniversaries. I would love to see them in pretty much anything. But as far as these are concerned, they are really, really nice. Comparing the mouth and the eyes and nose, the black paint, you may be able to tell that the older version is almost like a grayish, bluish, black kind of color, whereas the new ones are a little bit closer to the traditional black. Outside of that, they're only $13. So as far as everything else that's being sold, they are very, very reasonably priced. So yeah, with that being said, guys, I think that pretty much covers everything in today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the Scream 6 masks if you've already picked one up. And if you have, let me know what you think about those in the comment section down below. I've seen a lot of people saying that they love them. I see a lot of people saying that they look terrible. Personally, I think they're pretty nice masks. And you know what? I almost forgot to mention, they do certainly smell like vanilla. But yeah, with that being said, I love you all. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.